way up in the front. So
Good.
Okay. Hey, thank you guys. We always want to welcome the citizens to know how many show up at our meetings and make them a lot special, the input there. Today's a day that, changed history of our country, so we just thought about today being 9/11. A lot of our fire and some EMS representatives and even our township zoning has some other things to do tonight. Want to think about those and how it's changed our country and hopefully some things for the better here. So I'd like to do a roll call. Establish here, Trustee Lewis.
Yes.
Trustee Morrison.
Here.
Trustee Spellman here. And we have fiscal officer with us. Is there any additions, amendments, or changes to the agenda?
Yeah, I got two things I'd like to put under new business. I'd like to talk about health insurance. And then right at the end, I'd like to add on employment under new business. And we may be going into executive session, so if we can keep that the last item, it might be a little bit better for the people.
And then we need to announce what
Yeah, something?
well, we're moving the EMS quest from 11 new business up to the EMS report, so we can get.
Correct.
Yep.
We're moving, we have a representative from Quest here tonight, and they're going to work with the EMS end portion of the report. Jim, you had your hand?
Yes, I'd like to be on the agenda under old business, please.
Okay, I'd like to ask you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have been sent the minutes to review those. Any of the changes that requested, I think those were fulfilled. We have a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Lewis,
Yes.
Trustee Morrison.
Yes.
Trustee Spellman, yes. Karen, you ready for the fiscal report?
Mm-hmm. Today's bank balance, $964,362.19. It's come to the time of year again when we estimate, actually it's a guesstimate, of what our funds will be for the beginning of 2014. So they send you a form which I've filled out, and I'm guesstimating from what we have currently in the funds, we will have an additional $93,400, giving us a guesstimate next year for a total of $1,050,000, $1,050,600. So I need a motion to accept that, and then I need this signed so I can forward it to the auditor's office. It's a procedure.
We
We
read
do
that.
this every year so that it waivers us having to present a budget at this point in the year.
We've heard her read this, so we understand that.
This is an appropriation.
No, it's an estimated what your revenue is going to be to start 2014. But it's a guesstimate. They don't hold you to it. I guess you haven't finished the year and you don't know what expenses are going to be for you with that from now till December 31st. We do this every year, Mr. Morrison.
And certainly upon this part of that discussion is we do have to prepare a budget for the next year, and it's required that we should do that at a meeting. Advertise it, whether we announce it early enough that we do it ahead of time here in October. I certainly want to do that by November. We'll piggyback that conversation along with this.
This report has to be into the auditor's office by September 16th. So I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this estimate for accounting purposes
With the order.
with the auditor.
Have a second, trustee Lewis?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, trustee Lewis,
Yes.
trustee Morrison,
Yes.
trustee Spellman, yes.
Thank you.
Additional, Karen?
Yes. I gave Matt Stroni the EPA's pre-application for a public water system. I looked in my records, could not find it, and my recall is that I'd given that to Denny last year to be filled out. So I asked Matt if he could research it, and then I'll take care of it. He gives me a copy of it. Also, we have a new printer in the maintenance building. Do you know we've already gone through all 4 cartridges that you purchased?
Those are sample, those are just startup cartridges,
yeah, they
correct?
don't
We've
have
been
it.
through these.
No, I use those cartridges in my printer at home, and I get free, about 275 to 300 sheets, depending upon. I think the printer is set on, instead of a quick print, like a fast print, I have the feeling it's set on high quality, and consequently, it's using a lot more ink than is necessary. And I don't know.
Okay, with that purchase, we bought the large size cartridges, if
Yeah.
they want to see those, so that we're equipped. We will look at those settings.
Matt seems to have something.
Were you speaking of those cartridges that were left on the desk? Those are the ones that are left out that were used for the other printer on the, not the new one. I've saved them until I was down to the last one, so you see them,
Well,
and that's why I put my name on them.
I know you put your name on them, but
But it's from that,
it's
that old
from your
copy over
fax. From your fax?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Those
Why?
have been, those were old.
Those are
I've
all.
just been saving them for accountability.
Okay, then erase everything I just said.
Okay. But we'll still check those settings. We're prepared to move on to those other things, and we'll be good to go.
Okay. That's it?
Anything else?
No.
Fiscal officer? Maintenance report?
In your packet, I'll just go through here, and then if you have any questions, we'll go back. I'd like to first thank Mr. Butch Householder. He stopped the other day and gave us a 9/11 flag. And I guess he designed those flags, and he asked me to put it up on the pole, and it's flying now. And I just want to, I think we should just thank him for that. In your
Very
packet,
proud, not to interrupt you, Mayor, that he done it with our fire department the year after, and it was nationally recognized, so here's an Ellsworth resident showing up. Go ahead.
in your packet, I have the Lane Funeral Home agreement, and some of the things that we've done with them. There's also the purchase of the receipts for the crypts that they purchased back in 2012. And there's also a receipt for another crypt they just bought on the 5th of this month. I have a material receipt for the riser material. They had some problems with the containers that hold the cremated remains. So I designed a simple fix for that when I was working with them. So the invoice is in there. They're willing to pay for that. If you look, I've also made up an invoice. They were here in May. I don't believe they were invoiced for their $150 for going into the crypt. So I provided you a invoice there. However you want to produce one to send that to them, you can. Lane Funeral Home does request cemetery deeds for the 3 crypts that they own. So however you handle that.
Yeah, that's been many years, so we may be breaking new ground there.
Okay. I also noticed, I brought up before, that the zoning office door is rotted at the bottom, and I had A&M Door come out. I went and saw them first. Gave them the measurements. They said they weren't sure if they even made that door anymore, so one of their sales guys came down, looked at it, and he emailed me a quote to have that door replaced. It is an upgraded door because it has to have a panic panic bar on it because it's an exit door. So there's some cost in that. So if you want to pursue that, I think we need to pursue it before the snow flies.
Did we get an estimate on that?
Yeah, it's in your packet. We had some problems with the mower. Ran over to D&S Mower Shop. Harry found out it was actually a muffler that deteriorated. So I purchased a muffler from Ducat. The receipt's in there in your packet. It was $314 with shipping. The mower is back. Gave great service on that. And your W9 is in your packet. Another item I wanted to talk about is if you want to get on a fertilizing plan, put fertilizer at the town hall, fire hall, post office, and the entrance of the cemetery. I did some legwork with that. I also talked to Western Reserve Landscaping. Jeff's willing to donate some of his time with that. We can purchase the fertilizer through that John Deere where he purchased for the ball field and also the weed killer. They were actually the best price. I did get to ask the full service company to give us a price, and it was over $1,000. It's in your packet. I think it's $683 for a full year. That would be 5 applications.
That'd be all our costs.
Yeah.
And that includes the town hall also?
Town hall, fire hall, post office, and the front of the cemetery, on the south side of the fence. It'd be 5 applications.
Jeff Williams at Western Reserve Landscaping's been donating his time, and the ball fields look great.
Right.
He's been spraying those free of labor, and he's also put an application on some of the other properties
Correct.
free of charge to
Well,
us. So.
we discussed this. I put the dry fertilizer down, and then he would come back and do the weed killer that's necessary. If you want to do that, September's a great month to start. It's one of the most important times to get your first fertilizer down. So we can get on a schedule if you want to approve that.
That'd be your cost?
Yeah, one full year would be $683, whatever it is.
$683.38.
Yeah, $683. I'll give you an update on the road crack sealing with Berlin Township. It was challenging. That old machine kept breaking down. We finally did. We broke, a pump finally quit. It's still not here. It's back ordered. They actually had to make a pump for that old machine. As soon as that's back up, we're going to get back on it. All the flags have been removed and stored. Canfield Fair display, if anybody's been up to Fair, you saw the display. Probably next year we need to do a little paint job and do some replacement of some of the plastic on it and maybe do a little redesign. It looks pretty worn. We need to upgrade it a little bit. Water samples have been taken to the Board of Health. They're due September 30th, so we're in that. The pond pump project. I've been investigating that. I found some good news on that. I found out where the wires end and also where the pipe ends in the fire department. Bill Sischler recommended that I talk to DNR water on that pump. So that's something that we can investigate too.
I'll come up this weekend. We'll pull that pump up because I have a tool for it at home.
Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that. The fire station high bay lights, I finally got all those done. There was 8 lights out. Finally got the fire garage lit up. We did have a power failure in the last Friday, and the generator went off. Then I realized the maintenance building isn't on the generator, but the water in the well comes from the maintenance building. So if you're ever going to use the fire hall for a disaster area or relief area, you're not going to have any water. You have about 100 gallons before you're out of water.
We talked to professional engineer Paul Hendricks about that time. That was an option to go over to that. I believe there's even conduit chase to go to that.
I found that.
Talk to Bill, so that's a project down the road, and it's worth bringing up here.
I think, you know, we're gonna be running lake water into the fire department for the firemen to fill the trucks. I think we should be thinking about incorporating both these into one while we're doing the digging.
Well, yeah, and we'll be able to use that line that's underneath the driveway at the same time.
And I think there's a couple open conduits in there.
Yes, there's two.
Are they down deep enough for frost? Did Bill
I
say
haven't,
that?
I didn't dig, but I think we're deep.
We're gonna be okay.
Well,
We'll find out. And that's it. If you have any questions on the packet.
Could you talk to Paul Hendricks about if we have an open circuit, we have the ability to run the well and maybe a lighting circuit also off there, so we would have lights at the maintenance building in case of a
Yeah, we should
disaster?
also be able to open the garage door, because I couldn't get the truck out, the deputy couldn't get her car out.
Maybe we could see Paul Hendricks, you can touch base, I know your time is very stretched. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Okay, and then you have a list that you compile of things to do that we're not gonna get into tonight with the heat, and if these flies keep bothering me, something's gonna get smashed all over this. And I hope it's not on your paper, Kurt.
That's okay, I'll get more. It'll be
This
worth
will
it.
a mess. That's all I have. Matt, anything else there?
No, that's it.
Is there anything that we're asking for tonight, any expenditures that we need to approve?
Well, I think we gotta approve
Yeah.
the Duke cut mower repair, because we're over $200, but why don't we, I wanna spend a little bit of time with you on that door, $1,670, an awful lot of door for a man door, a lot of money for a man door. I think, do you wanna talk about fertilization? You know, so this is September, do we wanna fertilize those areas? What's the situation with Western Reserve landscaping and labor? What did Jeff agree
I'm
to
gonna
do?
charge for labor, because I'm gonna do the dry fertilizer,
Okay.
and then he's gonna come back and spray, for the weeds.
Okay. Is there any comments on fertilizing our yards up there? I think it'd be a nice attractive. Jeff's been doing the ball fields, and they've really turned around the last couple years.
Well, they were clover, and that was a little bit clover base for, we had webbing so that it suspended things, and you know, you're making lemonade out of lemons there. So we have some success. So time sensitive, I think we need to make the purchases, because that's what it will be. Well, depending on the weather, and there's windows of opportunity to do that. So somebody on this board will be looking at numbers that we need to approve.
We got $683.38 projected for what it would cost to fertilize most of the properties that the township owns. I'm gonna make a motion for that, along with mower repairs for $388.99 and $55 labor to repair the mower.
Wait a minute, I'm on a calculator.
The mower, the parts were $308.99, and the labor was $55.
Laura, you're totaling that up?
Yeah, I got 992.37.
And we'll see how the fertilization goes, and we'll address this again next year.
Well, and that would be 683 up front. It'll be ongoing.
Yeah.
We don't have to spend the money until we buy the applications.
And we've approved it. You can even do that with your internal budget, you know, because it'll be less than $200 a purchase.
Laura, how much? I got 992.37 for the lawnmower repairs and fertilizer.
Okay, and Matt, and anything you need to meet with Lane about, one of us will be with you. We'll work on that trip receipt. I think I'll need to get with Karen about that. We're talking 100 years.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor,
I'll second it.
For the total of, one time,
$992.37.
Trustee Lewis,
Yes,
Trustee Morrison,
Yes.
Trustee Spellman, yes.
that didn't include the $55 for the repair though.
Oh, put another,
I
wait,
need to add
wait.
it in there.
Another $55 for labor
Hold
on
on.
the mower.
1047.37.
Can we make that amended amount?
1040
1,000, Laura?
1047.37, yes.
And Laura, yes?
Yes.
Kurt?
Yes.
Hard yes. Thank you for your thorough job there, Matt.
You're welcome.
The zoning report, Mr. Durkin was in another project related to the zoning tonight, and he has one tomorrow night, and he was here yesterday as part of a Baird Brothers proposal. There's a new copier in the zoning office is not working. One of our computer geeks will get to that. We have 18 phone calls returned. 6 permits are under review currently. Working with the zoning commission chair and vice chair on past history of zoning amendments and zone changes since 1969 relative to the rewrite in the zoning resolution. There was needed PUD, planned unit development, clarification presented to the zoning commission, that is Deal Lake. Major expansion of the industrial zone in Quarry Road, Baird Brothers Sawmill, reviewed by the zoning commission. There's a meeting tonight with the agricultural forum at Baird Brothers to go forward with the insurance permit and recommended by the zoning commission. Very positive feedback last night and today relative to zoning commission workshop last night. The presentation from Oxbow and the citizens, including the business community, was there. So the zoning offices are Tuesday and Thursday. One thing, trustees, if we have that dinner next Thursday night, Rick will have to change those hours to be in attendance. It's something that we're going to have to put notification on his office to hour changes for that night on the 17th. Is that the 19th?
Yeah.
19.
Do we want to ask, do we want to just open the zoning office on Saturday morning then for them, or?
Well, I think some input him, but we could do it Saturday morning. I think that it serves the public well when there's an irregular person that works
You have to
afternoon
talk
term.
with Rick and see what his schedule is.
Yeah,
He has to-
let's touch base with Rick and
Okay.
possibly Saturday sometimes he's going to be moving the zoning offices hours to.
Okay. Fire department report. We have anybody? Tom was going to come tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah, as far as I knew, he was gonna be here.
Okay. You could just speak off the cuff on anything that we have. I know our fire department did always done a stand-in, a very good job at the fair.
Thank you.
Our fire department's involved in the open house at Baird Brothers, October
6th.
6th or 5th, the Friday, Saturday.
the 6th.
There's going to be a community table. When I get more from Baird Brothers, I want to share that with the other members of Ellsworth board here. Also, you know, when we update this fair display, we want some input and give time, okay, to help out with that. All right, we really do. Your part is shining a lot better than others, but we want to make that. So if we can get that across. All right, EMS, we can do an EMS report. Who we have here tonight is Cindy Fisher from Quest. She's our billing agent as far as our EMS transports, and we're going to pick her brain and ask her for suggestions. I think without her, she has really prodded this cow along a little bit, that we come home, it brings the milk home. We have to get the money to make this thing work. So, Cindy, if you want the floor.
Would you just, would you like me to go over the process flow? What
You
our
can
problems
stand up
have
and
been?
ready.
Is that, what you would like me to address
Yeah.
for this?
I'm going to add that, there's quite a bit to the billing for EMS, and a lot of times it gets a little bit overwhelming for the MTs, and Cindy is very good at calling one of us and helping things go along before we lose the ability to charge the insurance companies, because she works with us to make sure we get the billings done in a timely manner. And
Well, yeah.
We have had some issues in the past in getting things in a timely manner. Basically, the sooner you get the claims in, the more likely, especially for motor vehicle accident claims and that, the sooner you can get the money, more likely you will get the money from the motor vehicle accident. There are time limits for insurances, so you got to make sure those are in on time. We would like the process flow ultimately to be minimum of 1 week as far as getting transports into an area where we can bill. We need to get the information into what's called EMS charts and get all the anything documentation attached to that, and then get the information to our office so that we can go ahead and get your claim out. And then in return, then when the monies do come into the township, get that to us within that week's time. Once this gets on an even flow, weekly, both for claims going in and deposits being made or checks coming in and information getting back to us is a reasonable amount of time. We had a little bit of issues getting everything in a timely manner, so I've been working with the trustees and Karen and trying to get everything on a better process flow. I don't know what else you'd like me to go over.
Well, I think the key is, and you're here to represent the EMS part, I mean, what do we want to support the EMS in any way, and I kind of wish Brian was here tonight, but how do we, basically, we talked about hiring a secretary that could help with getting some of those attachments to charts and that kind of thing. And I know I spoke to Brian, and Brian said, well, whatever they need is a little notepad in the van with some internet access, and then we can get our charts updated while they're riding back from the hospital, if we can do that. But from what I understand, the charts are updated, but we have some attachments to those charts that aren't getting attached and aren't getting finally done. So from your perspective, since there's anybody else here to ask tonight, how do we want to help you guys if there's a secretary that needs to be hired at some position or whatever, or if there's this computer, then let's do that.
To be honest with you, when it comes down to it and people attaching things at the right times, it's hard. We're a volunteer organization.
Right.
Not everybody has the ability to, when something comes in, they need to attach that chart, have the ability to drop at the door and run up to the station and do it, unfortunately.
Right.
And I think that's where we're getting a lot of the misses.
Which we don't want to point fingers at anybody. We just need to make it work, and that's from our perspective. Like I don't want to, call Brian, put the heat on Brian, or I know he's busy. He's busy running, the department, the supplies, and there's a whole other animal to that.
Right.
So whatever it is, and obviously
We have computers, the heavy computers, but what we need is an air card. Would an air card help you guys, so while you're driving back, you could work all
To
the...
get that stuff done in a very fast and efficient
Would it make it
way,
easier
it would
for
make
you?
it 10 times easier.
Okay. We have the computers, all we need to do is enact the air cards,
Yes.
and the air
Now-
cards will cost us approximately $40 a month.
Depending on the company, yes.
and Verizon was who Brian contacted.
Yes.
Yes.
He asked us already to go down that route.
But
so-
and that would make the first part of the process easier. Not to interrupt you, Ari, I apologize.
Okay.
But I think what we're getting hung up in is that back end, the back end part.
The
It's not-
signature sheet.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that
from
kind
our
of stuff.
perspective, that's what we have.
So I think really, Brian likes to take, he likes to take the control of it and say, we can do it on our own, and that's great. But at the same time, it would be nice to have that extra person there that is their sole responsibility. That would make it easier in the overall things if we had both in play.
In our conversations with Brian, he wants to work harder at doing the job completely in-house. Brian wants to keep control of it, so
Of course he
we're
does.
gonna work with Brian. Is there anything that the EMTs can do, fill out the first part of the signature sheets?
In that process, I'll be honest with you, Mr. Morrison, I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to give it Brian.
Our expert.
Well, wait a minute, let me say something here. Now, listen, failure is not an option. We said we would do this and we were ready to do it, we were doing it.
Absolutely.
So if it's just a little thing that we need to do, here's somebody who can give us the tools or suggestions to say, what a checklist, is the how to, in a timely manner, do those things. You probably have some of those suggestions and some of those things that you can give us.
I know we've talked and you said some of the chiefs do it. You heard a little bit here.
Basically,
What
the
suggestion or
bottom
what
line
way
is
can
you
you?
need one person
You need
in
one
charge of
person.
it. Whether it's a part-time secretary, your fire chief, assistant chief,
Somebody.
whatever, yeah, there has to be one person My perspective, because I can get into EMS charts and I can look at the charts. The charts are 99% are complete. We can't bill them until the signature sheets are on there and the face sheets are on there, because we need the insurance.
Which are scanned attachments.
Right, and that cannot be done on the car. It definitely, and I'm not on the car, but I mean, it definitely makes the job easier for the EMS personnel to be able to do that on their way. So I don't know what's on your back end to be able to get those in there. That's definitely, but that's not what our problem is. You know, so that's another issue, you know, for you to decide with your personnel. What we need is to have someone responsible for getting the attachments, completing, looking at, because you should have some quality control too. I don't know who you have doing your quality control that you report back to the state. I believe someone should be doing that. I know now you may be in a little different setting because you're not a private EMS. I know for the private EMS, they have to do quality control. You're going through EMS charts and the public or the private sector has to do these things. So that might be something, and I'm sure Brian would probably know that. I don't know if your fire chief would or not. But yeah, I mean, I think he would probably know that. But you gotta make sure someone's doing quality control if it's necessary, and that these attachments are getting on there in a timely manner, and then when the monies do come in, that it's funneled to us into the fiscal. And that's, you know, whether it's Brian or someone, yeah. It just has to be done. We have had, from the beginning of us taking this on, we've always had issues as far as getting the stuff in a timely manner.
Well, Brian's not here, and I'm a Brian guy, but do we need somebody else beside Brian to get us over the hump here? Okay, so Kurt's been handling about 95% of this, and we appreciate that, Kurt. I think we need to give this thing, and we don't make them automated when we got volunteers and they're working as hard as they do, but we certainly want to express that we need to do what we need to do to retain every one of these dollars so that this thing can not just survive but thrive. We're gonna have.
I'm willing to keep, you know, taking Brian's suggestion. He's our.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Brian's probably one of the most educated.
Shane, he couldn't be here tonight. Bob's doing the 9/11 ceremony tonight. That's why he's not here. But you know, Brian suggested the air cards. We already have the computers. You know, that'd make it easier for you.
Yes, actually. Okay, actually, Brian and I did talk. Actually, we were talking about something like that. With the air cards, it's going to enable us to have some kind of mobile scanner system also to actually scan the sheets on the truck on the way back.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing we were talking about.
Well, do you have a cost on that? Is that when
It's something to be done for mobile devices,
Okay,
so
okay.
it's not going to like mean exist an extra cost.
Yeah, gotcha.
Could we use existing mobile devices for that?
As long as they're run by the department, for sure.
Because Brian suggested getting the air cards for the computer.
Yeah.
You know, at the township's expense. You know, we have the computers already, we just don't have any way to link them. And, you know, we'd like to make it easier for you, because, you know, from time to time, the charts do get delinquent also.
Okay.
So,
Well, let's go with approving the air card tonight. I know Brian emailed us and asked us to do that.
Yeah.
So if we approve the air card
Yeah,
tonight,
we're just one step closer to getting it.
yeah, and then whatever you need, if the devices you have are sufficient for scanning or
and he
getting
says
it
they would
attached,
be.
then we should be good. Let's try that first.
Let's
before we
try that
hire
for a while,
somebody.
as long as it's not a year or 2 year committal on that. You know, if it's a month by month, you know, or 6 month period.
I'm not exactly sure on that, to be honest. We would have to check on it, because a $40 a month air card, I mean, are they going to, I guess it all depends on the cost of the air cards up front. If you're purchasing the equipment, and this is what I do for a living, is mobile devices. So
Okay.
when it comes to the cost of the equipment up front, you pay full price for the equipment, then it's month to month, $40 a month.
Yeah.
Or is it a 2-year contract?
We're talking about using the computer that's already in the squad.
Yeah, but you gotta have the air card serviced by a company,
I know.
which would be Verizon.
But Brian already called, and if you go with just what he said in his email, it was only a $40 charge, because we have,
That's fine. I mean, obviously, you know,
that.
I have the email.
do you have the email?
I spoke with a government rep today from Verizon Wireless. He stated that he would give us a free 4G air card with reactivation for $39.99 a month, no contract. Cancel at any time with unlimited data to operate the computer currently in the squad. This will accomplish two things. First, it will allow the crew members to complete the charts on the way home from the hospital. Secondly, it will let us accomplish this without buying another computer, if we lose the one we currently own. I feel this is the cheapest, most efficient way to complete the charts. If I can get approval, we receive free next day shipping, and I can have this in place and operational by Friday, but that was Wednesday of last week, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, that's a heck of a deal.
So just go with it.
Hope to get that, dude.
Okay.
That
doesn't look-
Suggestion,
Yeah.
to look into see if the devices on the car are able to scan.
Yeah.
Because that will help your, but it's
Do
not
they?
gonna help our issue.
When it comes to air cards,
Of
I'm not
making
exactly
sure
sure what air cards they are. Like, if
Yeah.
if he were
Right.
to include a model number or something, I can tell you right off the cuff, but
What? Make sure he can get.
I mean, I just,
Obviously,
if
I
we're
mean-
talking, I would like to be able to have the
Yeah, I
results so
mean-
that we get things on a regular basis.
Right.
when it comes to that, Brian does
Makes
know what
sense to
he's
you?
talking about. I mean, he wouldn't be
I mean,
asking for
it's
that.
possible, definitely, but I don't know of anyone that has the scan.
It still has to, somebody enter that data in.
Which doesn't mean it doesn't
Right,
exist.
right.
Make it easier for you, the EMTs.
Yeah,
Yeah, it definitely makes it easier for them to get their charts done.
whenever you have any kind of mobile communication, it makes anything easier.
Oh, we had an amount in the discussion, we ready to make a resolution for that?
We are, have the number off the
I'll make a motion for the $39.99 a month with no contract for the air cards at a trial basis to see if it makes it better for the EMTs and an easier job.
Good, a
We
second.
appreciate the work you do.
No
for us.
problem. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
carrier.
Yeah.
And if it don't work,
Laura, do we have a second on that?
Yes, second that.
Trustee Lewis,
Yes.
trustee Morrison?
yes. And also, I've asked for, and Brian has asked for, we need some accounts receivable month by
Your
month.
report has been in the desk drawer. You took the hospitalization envelope? Remember
Okay.
the hospitalization envelope?
Yeah.
You sent an email that you had taken it?
Yeah,
Your report was on top of it,
okay, well, I didn't see it. I'm gonna go up there and get it tonight.
okay?
And then, did you get one to Brian also?
I had one here tonight for Brian, which I will then drop off tomorrow at the MBOC.
Thank you.
Fire department.
All right, so while we've sat here through the heat patiently, we have two residents that had a question. While Cindy was here, Cindy, then we'll let you go.
Well, I was just gonna ask what happened. I thought you all had made a motion to hire that gentleman who was.
In our negotiations and trying to work out the problems, Brian talked that we don't need a secretary at this time, and he wants to keep doing that job, so we're gonna work with Brian.
Are you gonna rescind the motion?
I will rescind the motion for the
Okay, then
secretary
Make a motion to do that.
last month.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Trustee Lewis,
Yes.
trustee Morrison,
Yes.
trustee Spellman, yes.
Thank you, Dee.
Public, let's, Cindy, we really want to thank you for you taking the time out of your own time, especially.
Yeah, go ahead.
Make a statement about the fire department with Edward's, regards to fire corps and helping them and something that was brought up in last month's meeting.
I brought something up?
It was brought up in last month's meeting. It was in the, when Chief Sternberg was asking for reimbursement.
Yes.
Okay. You want me to stand up or?
No, I
Okay.
think we can hear you.
I would just like to address an issue that I saw while watching the Western Reserve News for the meeting in August of 2013. When the fire chief, Bob Sternberg, had asked for reimbursement for food and refreshments that were purchased, Mr. Spellman had stated the next time to give him a call, he would provide granola bars. Mr. Spellman also stated there are a lot of people who give a lot to the community without asking for reimbursement. There were several Ellsworth firefighters who responded that day for the search and rescue of a local Ellsworth Township man that went missing. Contrary to what the Roundup articles said, submitted by Curtis Morrison, stating that it was a drill. This was actually a live situation. There were also several area firefighters surrounding departments that had responded. First, I would like to state that NIMS, which is National Incident Management System, was put into place for emergency calls like this by FEMA to ensure emergency personnel would receive nourishment and hydration. The firefighters that were on the scene from Ellsworth received were there for 7.5 hours, received a whopping $7.50 from Ellsworth Township. These firefighters made $1 an hour for this call, and you complained about the bill that was submitted for hydration, food and hydration that amounted to less than $300. As a member of Fire Corps, I think it should be brought to the attention of the trustees, people in this room, and the community that there are a lot of people in this community that volunteer to give back their time to the community without asking for reimbursement. For example, in the months of August and July, the service that was put forth by Fire Corps had a monetary value of over $1,500. At no time did we ask for reimbursement or praise for these acts. We do this out of the kindness of our heart and love for our community. Mr. Spelman, you had stated that you volunteer for the community. I honestly very rarely see you in the community functions unless it's close to election time. I know we are all busy and have jobs. I work full-time, go to college full-time, and have a young family at home to take care of. So I'm just as busy as the next person. It really upset me that you have to question and make smart remarks in regards to reimbursement. I also feel that the article submitted by Curtis Morrison in the Roundup was very misleading, stating that it was a drill. Someone's family in Ellsworth Township had a member go missing, and they were frantically looking for them for their safe return. For a few years back, Mr. Morrison, your daughter's cat went missing, and you and your wife diligently were going up and down the Duck Creek Road, asking all of us who lived on this road to keep an eye out for the cat. If we saw your daughter's cat, to please call you for its safe return.
And you did, and we found the cat, thank you.
Yes.
And it was my fault because they were gone, and I was supposed to be watching the cat, so I appreciate all the help. And I apologize for misrepresenting that search and rescue. And we appreciate what you do.
And as far as a red statement saying that I criticized, no, listen, we're here to run the township. And when we do things like that, we come later and ask for money that we had already done something in night gesture. No, I would rather you come ask me for $200 than me to take the taxpayers' money and come after that. And when you say that you haven't seen me in the community, you'll see me do many things like that. And if you don't know Sam and see me, then I really think you aren't looking. So I won't get offended by it, and I won't get defensive either. But that's the facts of what it is. If we do things like that, you know, we made phone calls. We went up and looked too. You know that also we made phone calls when the guy was at the ball fields up there in our area up there too. It takes a community to do these things. And I'm not saying a granola bar and water a reward. I'm saying we signed up and we do what we signed up for. Mine's also to be a good guardian of what we do here. And that was all the comment was. It wasn't criticism at all.
My point is that if, let's say, any of you were not available at that time when that fire call came in, and they're on the duty for 7.5 hours doing this, a granola bar and water are not going to get you very far.
Instead of spending the money people after the fact, come see me, I'll donate some of the money. I've done it lots of times. Thank you. Anybody else? And we do appreciate everything you do. I say that many, 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 many times, and I show. Thanks, EMS. We have a committee reports we can get into real quick.
Bob's here, and we have can we flash back and do a fire department report already?
It's 90 degrees, Chief. You've been in a hot jacket for the rest of the afternoon. You're hotter than the rest of us.
Apologize for apologize to the board and to the citizens. I know Tom was representing us tonight. We had a call, mutual aid call, Berlin Center, and I was at the 911 ceremonies this evening. Since our last meeting, we had one good intent call, 8 emergency medicals, 2 motor vehicle crashes, 3 EMS transport. We had 1 civilian injured, non-fire related, and 1 civilian death, non-fire related. We had 92 hours in training, fire prevention, cleaning maintenance, total of 92 firefighter hours for the month. I called, I got a letter from Sebring Dispatch that they're going to put a CAD system in, an upgrade in. They're having issues with their CAD system, how we get our pages through dispatch. And what they're going to do is they dispatch for us, North Jackson, Berlin Center, Craigs Beach, and some other departments down in the southern part of Mahoney County, northern Columbiana County. What they're going to do is they're going to put a new CAD system in to allow us to get phone pages like we normally do. Their system is down, and it'll be a one-time cost. It'll be shared amongst the fire departments, that every fire department that gets dispatched. I talked to Chief Heverly just this morning because I didn't have a price until I spoke with him on the phone. It'll cost each fire department roughly between $400 and $500 for a one-time cost for the upgrade. We have not received a bill or anything. He just wanted to give us a heads up that's forthcoming, and it'll be within they'll do a one-time cost shared with all the fire departments. Ladder test will be September 26th at our station. NDT will be coming out and performing the test, our annual test, just like we normally do. It's mandated. We'd like to, before winter, we'd like to take the trucks to the Blue Beacon Truck Wash and have them detailed for winter. We did this, we paid for it out of our pockets before to have it done for my father's funeral. And I'll tell you what, they shined the trucks up really nice. They cleaned the undercarriages, and we felt that, you know, with the controls on the dump valves in the tanker, we had some issues with those. Even though the trucks get washed when they come back, we felt that, you know, that getting the road grime off and getting a really, you know, good detail on the apparatus, so we'd have, you know, someone take them up and run them through the truck wash, and then, you know, bring them back home. And we figured if we start a maintenance program like that once a year, it'll help the life of the apparatus. So I don't have a cost on that yet. So
why don't we look at that in the spring? Because after the winter, we pick up all that salt and everything.
Well, we figured what we would, yeah, I mean, that'd be a good idea. If we could do it, you know, even twice a year, you know, just run them up there twice a year. Like you say, once in the spring,
for sure.
and once, you know, before winter. So, and then.
Yeah, because we just went through a pretty good cost for that valve system on the tanker.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, so.
That'd be preventive maintenance, but why don't we look at that in the spring?
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect, yeah, that's fine. For EMS, did Brian, or did someone do a?
Yeah.
Okay, about the modem? Okay.
We approved their
Okay.
part.
Okay, gotcha. And we have a new firefighter, Brian Morocco, that would like to attend the Firefighter 1 training coming up at the MCCTC. And again, we get the we've gotten the reimbursements back from that for the training.
Well, if you don't have the money on this here, do you want to, does it have to be up front?
It is, it's $1,290
Okay.
for the class.
I'm looking over.
And we will be reimbursed for that from the
Okay.
state, so we'll get that cost back. Tom our trucks are getting serviced now, the oil changes, the annual oil changes and the service. The mechanic found a charger, that's why it's handwritten there, these are Tom's notes. Tom was in there all day today. Found the battery charger on engine 41 needs replaced. There's systems on there that's on there now. The maintenance guy suggested that we put a Kuzmal system on to replace the one that's existing. It's an off-brand one that's on there now. All the lights that are in there, the rechargeable equipment that we hook our shorelines to, is not charged. Nothing's getting charged in there. So that battery charger needs replaced, and he's got a price here. of $340, I'm sorry,
$840.
$840. And then some valves on engine 47 we rebuilt. It did pass pump test. He's the maintenance guy's up there now. He was doing oil changes and, you know, servicing said that we need 4 valves need to be built on 47. So, and then if Karen, if I can get another ream of paper,
Sure.
some more paper, so
No
we're
problem.
out. So,
Do you need it tonight?
when tomorrow's fine.
This is
Oh.
for you and for Brian. Thank you, glad you came in.
What is the balance on the EMS while you're passing those out?
He's gonna, here, Bob, let me see.
While we review that, can we make a motion to approve the $2,730
I'll make a motion to approve the $2,730 for the
described?
fire department.
Laura, do we have a second?
Yes, second that motion.
Trustee Lewis?
Yes.
Trustee Morris?
Yes.
Trustee Spillman, yes. And we'll find that number for you here in a second.
And I'd also like to know what our balance is for the fire department.
Can you write them on the paper and slide them over? We'll get the
Sure.
meeting going here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
What was the, we had a motion?
Yes.
I didn't get
For
that
the
either. For
total
the
appropriation.
approval.
Yes.
Who
This
made
amount.
that?
Kurt Morrison made it. Laura seconded. We all approve.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And you weren't here, we said thanks, you know, you guys always, whether it's looking for a missing person or whether it's a fair, you know, you guys are doing a really good job here. We have committee reports. Anybody want to jump in here?
I went to the Mahoning County Township Association. They had a speaker there that was held August 22nd, Thursday at the fairgrounds. Randy Cole came. He's from the governor's office, and he spoke to us about, you know, the numbers of state revenue sharing is going to be going down some more, and then you know, they talked about combining with other townships to try and work more efficiently, and we've been doing that with crack sealing for years. And there's some, we're working with the Berlin Township on the burials, which saves us some money, and the salt with Lordstown, and we've been doing that for a while. And you know, township governments are efficient, but you know, we're getting less and less from the state. And then also Lou Vega was there from the Green Team, and he's talking about some of the services that they provide will be starting to get cut back because their monies are depleting also. Pat Sweeney, which is our new health commissioner, talked about, you know, some of the services may have to be depleting there, and they're still talking with the city of Youngstown to combine the two health departments to save money. So everything is on the same transition, that the state has less and less money to distribute. We also talked a little bit about when the revenue monies come from the state, you know, they give it to the county, and the city of Youngstown gets most of the money, and the townships are always left out in the cold. And you know, we've been asking, the commissioners didn't even know where those percentages come from, so that's an ongoing subject with the county and the cities and the townships, but it seems like we always get the short end of the stick on that. So, and that's all I have to report on the Mahoning County Township Association meetings. And that ends my report.
Laura?
I just have just a few miscellaneous things this month, really. Bob's that BP card working now?
I don't know.
Okay.
We haven't tried it since, so.
Okay, let me know, because I called them and they said it was working, but they also said they were gonna call me back the day before, and it was gonna get reinstated.
Right.
I called back, it's supposedly reinstated, but I just have a heck of a time with some of those customer service reps, but hopefully, last call, it should be working. Just a lot of little things, keeping up with stuff this month. reading through the solid waste proposal by Lou Vega, it came through, it's a 52% decrease in funds across the board for every township for the recycling program. So looking at a huge cut there. But yeah, and going through the healthcare stuff, we have a packet here trying to understand what 2014 is going to bring with Obamacare and all the things going on there. So really that's about it. Some updates coming to the website, and that's it for me.
Okay, Lauren, and we'll get to the unfinished business just a second here, but I have a couple things here. We talked about this solid waste. Kurt got into it. I was at that, but I also went down to the Oak Hill at the committee about the budgeting of this. I've been to the Cavelli Center, I've been to Youngstown State. I certainly have a sensitivity about my township. That here's one of the key things that when they're talking about cuts, they're talking about cutting the testing of discharges to go to the tributaries of streams, repairing. They talk about cutting the testing of wells.
Water wells.
Water wells that are around the landfills.
Certainly what I said to them, and there was 5 other townships there, what I said to them, Ellsworth only represents a small percentage of our, the county population, but one of the things that we have, and the guys that have been around a long time, Bob, you know, we have 2 old landfills, and they were done before the measures were put in as far as the leaching into the, they just put clay and they stomped the clay down, and they started filling it up. Nowadays they do it much, much differently. They try to build safeguards in, the EPA's there, and we don't want public health risk, but we can't undo what is done. Those 2 landfills, and if you know about topography and water, it runs downhill. We can have those 2 landfills that'll go to an area that I told them it'll go to the feeders to Meander Reservoir. Everybody in that room will be affected directly or indirectly by that kind of cuts in that area. That's one area that public health risk, and then this trustee will continue to carry that message about arguments in that area there. So I think it's important that we go to those and we work hard to not let that rest here. Also, Larry's asked me in the past about the land bank. I said when I found a tool, we do this. I provided a packet from Attorney Fittimore about what's entailed in dealing with these distressed homes. We have an obligation, I feel, as trustees about neighborhood stabilization. We just can't let the blight enter into our township. So there is cost involved, but there's a nuisance that have to be, there has to be abatements, and I suggest that we get an expert in that area. The letter from the land bank was to encourage and appeal to the Attorney General about extension for those monies to remedy those, whether they tear the house down, create green spaces or whatever. But it's been successfully argued to a point that they're moving this deadline from 12/31/13 to 5/31/14. That doesn't give us a lot of time that we get to a consultant that can get the ball across the goal line for us. I think we certainly need to do that.
Or do you have a list of what homes, I mean, I know of some homes that seem vacant, but you know, I don't know if it's, I don't know the history or.
I have a list of 11 and one of those got sold.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want to present those.
Can you forward that or let us look into that?
I can do that. I'm going to meet with the sanitary district about the, after I talk to some residents about the expansion of the sewer past our fire department, so it can give a payback on that. We've talked about other ideas that we want to do there.
Say that again?
I want to talk to the sanitary district about extending the sewer to where gravity is.
Yeah,
we talked about that. If we can get that to the fire station, see, there was a myth that I stopped that so it wouldn't go into my development. I just another thing that threw up against the wall that didn't stick. But we definitely need to entertain that. In the first place, I always start with the residents, see if there's an interest. I have talked to them, but it's been in the past. We talked about, again, topography and fall. That could be gravity to a certain point. It would be a wonderful thing to get expansion there and include our fire department so we can change the status of what that fire station is. We've lost our emergency shut-in, which was the school at one time. And we can, then with the generator and the fire department, we can change the dynamics of that and serve the public a lot better. So I'm going to start with that. That's one of my projects. I talked to the Historical Society about the fair display. Thanks for helping me that day.
That's fine.
They would like to see some facelift on it too. Ours is most different. We have the smallest space, and we sit on the end there, and that's the spot we got. So I think we need to all have some input about that. And Western Reserve Baseball, can I do that now and then we can check that off the list? Kevin had a call. Kevin Wyndham's a maintenance person. He's also in the fire department. They had a call on the lake chief. I don't know if you've heard it tonight. He couldn't come. So let me entertain what Western Reserve Baseball has asked us to do here. They want to come to the next available meeting. What they've done is they've said to simplify this thing about the porta potties and porta johns, is that we pay for the handicap one, they'll pay for the other two for the full term of it. I think that's doable. He'll come present that. They had dirt dumped on those ball fields, and if anybody that's used those ball fields know that we're lacking there. There are ball fields, they belong to the residents, we're behind. So they have 2 truckloads, $320 each. They asked if we would consider paying $320 for one of those. They're going to do the manual labor and spread that around, and they said they'll talk to you, Matt. You know, we don't have a lot of equipment, but we'll try to help facilitate that. So we can cross that off the list here.
Okay, how big of loads were they, Artie?
I don't know how many tons it was, but it was at a very discounted rate through
Okay,
by our
it's not a bad price.
one of our residents, and it's not the top mix, but it was a pretty good mix. Did you go over and see it?
Yeah, whatever, I looked at it.
Good.
It's actually really nice.
Good. So I think what we can say is approve that $320 if you feel the same way I do.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion that we approve the $320 to help build up those baseball fields.
To the West Reserve Baseball who's paying
So,
for it.
yeah, reimburse them.
Laura, do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor, Trustee Lewis?
Yes.
Trustee Spellman? Yes.
Trustee Morrison, yes?
Yes, I got it.
Now, am I making that check out to the, will you find out?
Let's call
what
him,
they
yeah.
want to do?
Yeah, I'll call Kevin, and I'm sure we got his number, right?
I understand.
Okay, and then the last thing on the committee report, I didn't ask anything about the minutes here tonight. I didn't, because I think it's got better that we take those things that shouldn't have been, maybe that we use better judgment in not saying those things. But one of the things that I was charged with at the last meeting, that I'm suing you, Laura, and I really don't know why you would let that stand and say that I'm suing you. And you said Kurt Morrison is suing you. I've never sued anybody in my life, and I hope that I will never have to sue anybody.
I have nothing to do with suing you either.
Okay, and I'm personally not being sued if you want to get technical about it, but I think that's just better left wherever it is be, and you know the PERSCO's opinion on that. I think we all know that by now, and I'm not sure why you're...
But in the sake of what I didn't say in the minutes and say why that wasn't there, I'm glad they weren't in there. But I'm not glad that you made that charge in a public meeting that I'm suing you. You could tell me what I'm suing you for,
Well,
and
Kurt,
I would
you know,
better
Artie, I would
understand
have to
it.
go back and re-listen and re-watch the last meeting, because honestly, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't recall a month ago, but I'm sure what I had to say had some factual basis to it, because I do...
Then I'll give you maybe till next month, and we'll I think that's a wrongful thing to charge somebody like that. I really went home and thought about it, said when I was upset, don't do anything now. So. We're going to the unfinished business. We had a zoning consultant come in, and this is what happened. The zoning commission had the charge of looking at companies that overlooked the zoning resolutions and the updates and the legal legs that they stand on. And if you understand, our zoning commission has been working really hard for a lot of years now, preparing and doing this thing and on their own. They knew at a certain point that we would need expertise and somebody beyond what they can do, and then certainly the trustees feel the same way. That board brought us, after looking and listening to 4 proposals, they brought us unanimously, so that has to say something, all 5 members plus the alternate. What the trustees craftily did is said to that person, well, part of the counter proposal is that you come and you do a zoning workshop, and part of what has been said at all of these is about a land use plan, and they included a mini land use plan, is what he was saying is going to be in that proposal. We could talk about the numbers of it, but there is something, when you see as many residents turn out, it's the unknown that people are scared of a lot of time, but when you educate them, you'll see that our zoning is trying to be as comprehensive as they possibly can. They're trying to dot all the I's and cross the T's. And we can also see the need for a land use plan. We heard it flat out that some judges and magistrates said if you're in a court case and you don't have one, we heard some magistrate judges don't look at it. We heard that some arguments that they use the counties. We really want our township to define what we want it to be. Especially the business corridors. We're ready for a dentist office. We have very modest improvements now. We need to be, if you've been in these plans, you might have heard Columbiana 2010, Columbiana 2020. Those are vision plans that the trustees empower groups, and what they do is they charge, empower other people to say, let's come up with this idea that we want our township to look like. So I know we want a rural feel of our community, but I know that we have 2 closed businesses now. Our businesses are surviving, but nobody's thriving. Economic times, and we shouldn't do anything to hurt them. So, anybody else want to talk about the Oxbow proposal?
I know zoning's a very important thing. Sometimes it looks like it costs a lot of money, but it's better to be proactive than reactive. Zoning's helped our communities in the southern end of our township with the halfway house that was there, and people were afraid of some of the things that the people that were walking up and down the street. We had some incidents where people were breaking mailboxes, and they followed them back to the Redemption House, and zoning worked well there because it was in place. And I think it's time we follow through and put a little bit more money back into zoning and get our book updated. You know, basically it goes back to '69. Some of the things in there don't hold water legally, and we got to get some things updated, get it easier to read, and that's what this gentleman from Oxbow will be doing. We looked at, they had 4 different people come in and talk, and they interviewed, and I was able to see a couple of them, but some of them were very expensive. This guy's on the lower end of expenses, and he'll work with us, and he's willing to work with, you know, work with the commission's writings now and adapt them to our new book, you know. And another gentleman was in, and I asked him that, and he wanted more money to work with the paper that they've been writing. So what the resolution that they wrote, if he wants more money to tear it apart or work with it, he's going to give us a cookie cutter resolution to work with for our zoning regulations. So he wasn't our man, you know, but this guy seems to be very responsive to work with our community and our people. So I think it's time we get some professional help to get it over the hump.
Laura?
Well, as far as zoning and land use, I think we definitely need a land use plan, and I know our zoning book needs rewritten, and we need some help in that department. And so we've been working on it, and I don't have a problem with what I heard last night. I think it's definitely a direction we have to go into, but like I said, and like I asked him last night, I think we need to form a committee. And a lot of the land use planners, I was at every one of them except for this George, which, finally I was there last night, but a lot of them structure it with a committee, a cross-functional sort of demographic committee where you have business owners, you have farmers, and then you have, more residential people, and some of the government officials involved as well. You get some zoning commission people and maybe a trustee, so that it's balanced and we can go at this in a very balanced fashion. And I voiced that concern last night, and I was hoping that the board would, maybe see, I don't know, what are your thoughts on actually forming a committee? Allow the zoning commission, they've been working on the ordinances, they know, the most about them, but let's roll in some business people, let's roll in some farming people. And if we've got to make those phone calls to see who we can get and who might be willing to, then I think that we need to do that.
We're talking about two different subjects here. We've got a zoning regulation that, we need to finish writing, but we also need a
Yes, but-
comprehensive zoning plan,
but-
which will include.
Okay.
Excuse me, which he said would be the first thing that we address. So we have time, and I'm all for committees too.
No. I mean for the zoning ordinance to help in that rewrite as well. I am proposing the committee at that level as well, because, like I said, if you look at each individual member, and it's nothing against them personally, each individual member of our zoning commission, I just am for a more representative approach to this overhaul, and I think we need to pull some business minds in and have them take a look at some of the things that we've been looking at, and
I think that's what we're going after by bringing in Oxbow and his expertise.
I think that's a perfect fit for the land use plan. At this stage of the game, the volume of work that's been done, I don't know if we back up and we...
One is right in hand with the other. So if we go at one without the other, it is all tied together. Okay, so from my perspective, this whole project is one and of the same, where if you're going to look at business development and everything and have your zoning code's got to support, all that. So you bring in possibly some people at this point to work through that rewrite and have some input in that rewrite, and then as well go to the head off the zoning land use plan. That's my suggestion.
We'll get to the public in a second here. I think where the decision is here, whether we pull the trigger and hire this guy, I think he was, by all 6 unanimous board members, I think he was very impressive. He done his homework. He's working cheaper than the average cost of all. His background was the most diverse and deep, and what he's charging now, I think we should consider hiring this guy. I'm not going to tell 6 board members they were wrong, especially when I heard what I heard he say, and many in that room that came, and you feel what he's saying was right. I don't think that we should back up and not hire this guy.
The zoning commission's been working on this for over 6 years. I think we need to get them some help.
They've asked for it.
They've asked for it, and I think this is our guy.
In the proposal, Mr. Samarigan is just the representative for Oxbow. They have it at $100 an hour. These things aren't cheap. Last night, what he quoted the price was between $12,000 and $15,000.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I think that here it is before us tonight, and it doesn't wait another month. I think that we ought to consider that. If somebody wants to make a motion to take the commission's suggestion, take the people's suggestions. I got positive feedback from it as I went out in the community today.
I'm gonna make a motion that we hire George, I can't pronounce his last name, from Oxbow Corporation to work with our commission on our zoning resolution and regulations, and a mini comprehensive land use plan, which we'll probably follow through with this same company on.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it. It not to exceed what amount, or, you know, we gotta, I think we need to,
We had a projection of $12,000 to $15,000.
He's going to say, what he did say, he's going to tell us when you get to the end of the meter and the money's running out, that he'll try to wrap up some of those things and do.
So along with the proposal that I just put on the floor, can we put a total, a
not to
maximum of
exceed,
15,
I
not to
think-
exceed
I think we say not
$15,000?
to- Let's go with the 12, and when we get the close, we can revisit it and see how much more we have to do. Let's try to hit the 12 at the end.
Okay, if you want to read.
And we'll
Well, I
leave
gotta-
it
I
at
gotta-
Not to exceed 12,000?
Not
Is
to
that
exceed,
how, is that what we're doing?
Yeah,
without further review, not to exceed.
put in the contract or the minutes without further review.
So I have a motion that we approve hiring Oxbow, and with the condition of $12,000 and a review at that time and the additional money, and we can see how this is going that we do that. Trustee Lewis?
Yes?
Trustee Morrison?
Yes.
Trustee Spellman, yes. And public, anybody have any comments that was here last night about that? Anybody they liked it or not? Yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
Lee Sandstrom, you're just covering what the zoning commission, zoning resolutions, guidance and assistance that George from Oxbow is going to get. You have not addressed what he was here for last night.
Land use was a mini thing.
Well, land
I have no
use
problem
is
going
not,
15,000, 16,000. I'm the trustee, been sitting here for 6 years begging people to educate themselves about land use plan and to do that. I don't think we're cutting him off, and I don't think that we're going to get a no for this. We left it open for negotiation about certain things, and I don't think it's a hard line. We just said to review. If he says the land use thing, I won't touch that until I get to that. I don't know.
well, I agree with what Laura said. There needs to be a committee to work with a group of cross-section of Ellsworth, accountants, architects, farmers, business people, and so forth.
And how about the people in the proposed areas?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But generally, from the other, and Lee, I'm so glad that we can agree on this. Generally, from the other people that came in, they put together, the number varied between 15 to 17 to 25 people that you meet with, and you pull in all those, because you can't, my perception of things is different than yours, different than somebody else. It's just, you have to have that respect and that diversity to get all those ideas out there. I don't want to take anything away from our 5 board members, but I want to add to it, because if we're going to spend the money, we're going to really overhaul this thing and create a future plan. Let's pull in business people, farmers, and I think if we make a few phone calls, I think we can, be somewhat successful pulling in a few people.
And Laura, those are the only models I consider. Any of the land use, any of the consultants, any of those. They're the only ones I consider. So,
Well, why not do the committee?
that's what I'm saying. The only ones I considered were the ones that had committee. You're preaching to the choir about that.
Right. I mean, me too.
We hired a consultant and an expert, and we're going to start telling them what to do and how to do it.
No. That's why I asked him last night. I asked him, do you have a problem if we appoint a committee?
And
or
I don't
put a
think he
committee
does.
in? No, he said no, so I'm fine with him if he.
Okay.
But I would like to see that diversity be brought in for this, because the zoning ordinance is being overhauled, but then there's also a future plan being created. So they go hand in hand, and there's going to be a lot of changes to what they've already done, quite possibly.
There probably will.
Right. So.
I'm just doing somersault. Watch me guys in the parking lot about land use plan. You'll see me.
So more
That's how
on
happy
this.
I am.
I want to hear.
Tim,
Remind
more
me, Artie,
quickly.
I don't want to get underneath you.
I just got a quick question. I mean, I totally agree with the land use plan, but, you know, this should have been done years ago, because your zoning book, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the zoning is built around your land use plan. You form your land use plan, and then you form all your regulations around that. You know, you've worked for 6 years now, where we've, you know, sometimes these people have met twice a month, if I'm correct. I mean, I've been following zoning since, you know, my incident, but, I mean, we've paid these people for sometimes 2 meetings a month to work on this with no land use plan. And now, you know, we throw all this money away for 6 years.
We have a land use plan that was done for us.
We don't have.
Very rough.
Come on, it's
Yeah.
not enough.
Stop. Here's where we got it. You're right in this sense, Tim. It does not have any, land use plans do not have any regulatory power under Ohio's code. They have no, but they provide a vision. They give zoning legs to stand on.
Right,
They,
and you build your zoning around that.
well,
And he talked about
zoning
last
is
night.
powered by Ohio revised code.
Right,
Land use plans aren't.
But he talked about last night that depending on what court you get dragged into, some of the courts will not support your zoning unless you have a land use plan.
That's
It's
what I
been
said
proven.
about, that's what I said about the judges on the way in, and it's viewed differently. But I'm of that thought and of that mind, and I'm glad we got somebody that says land use is very critical in this whole process.
And, I mean, you're correct, you know, and in my specific case, I was told, well, you don't have a land use plan, and this is why you're in violation. You know, because there's nothing set in stone that you can't have, you know, a dual purpose. You know, to use your stuff on your property and then take it off with profit. You know, that's where I was in violation, because there was no set land use plan for our zoning.
And you heard it from me at the beginning and Laura.
No,
that-
I'm not
You
disagreeing.
you heard
Yeah,
that
it
some
definitely
judges,
needs to be done.
some
It's
judges
just
won't.
6 years of working on this without having it.
Have you heard anybody blowing the horn louder or beating the drum louder than Artie's coming?
Okay.
Okay. Frank?
I guess I'm kind of confused, because I was at the same meeting you guys were at last night. I mean, he specifically says you gotta have the plan before the zoning ordinance. That's part of what he's gonna do. That's what you're paying him to do. It's all part of what you're paying him to do. I think, you know, where you're saying it's a separate ordeal, unless he wrote something that I didn't hear. I mean, the way I understood it is, he
Two
talked.
different items.
I know it's 2 different items, but he's gonna work on both of them.
He is.
Yes.
So what's
He's
the
gonna put in
ordeal?
a mini plan
I
by
mean,
the time he's done.
when the process is over, I'm sure he's gonna get a committee.
We're getting to a chicken and egg.
Right.
Okay, but
That's the ordeal. I mean,
we
let's
cut the
move
thing
on.
down, but the chicken's real, the egg's not real. You follow me? I'm just explaining to you, I'm not arguing with you. I'm not arguing with you, educationally, I just tell you, the land use plans do not have Ohio revised code behind them. They're not mandated, they don't have teeth, they can't bite. They're visions that go along, and some judges, I explained at the beginning, require, Tim brought it up, require some magistrate, ignore them, some grab coattails of county plans and said this is our land use plan. We need one, we're all on the same page, and that's what we need to do.
I'll make one more comment. It is not the zoning commission's responsibility to develop a land use plan.
Correct.
Therefore, how can he do what you're suggesting, Kirk would call a mini
That's what he called it last night.
He didn't call what he was going to do with a group of people a mini plan. It was a full-blown land use plan.
Loose. We call it loose.
Huh?
We call it loose,
Loose,
that it can be built upon.
yes, but it's not with the zoning commission. It needs to be with, as Laura suggests,
An architect, an engineer, a farmer, a business guy, people in the corridor.
It involves the zoning commission as well, and maybe one rotating trustee. Maybe 1 month I go, Kurt you go, you know, we keep our kind of hands in and we know what's going on, and I think we need to put the committee together. That's, you know, we need to hire him, yes, I'm not gonna argue about that, but I think about it, you know, we got more months here to talk about it, but
I just been waiting for a victory, and it's a very large one, so that's good. We'll move on from this.
Nobody's been, nobody's been in
agreed with me.
opposition of it.
Nobody's agreed with me, and I've asked that people educate themselves. Okay.
Well, Artie, I don't understand that comment, because I went out and I sought somebody out that came in and talked to our zoning commission, and it was, you know, somebody they didn't choose, but that's okay. I mean, you know, there hasn't been opposition. We've been moving forward together in this issue. So
Okay.
I you know, don't know where you're coming from there, but just thought I'd clarify that.
Okay. Where are we at now? I lost this pointer.
New business, which
Old
we
business?
covered.
New business.
New business.
Unfinished business.
No, no,
Right after all. Unfinished business?
no. That was unfinished.
Give me the old unfinished business or old business? I had it here.
Gotta stand up. Okay.
I don't think it's any cooler up there, though.
Yeah. You think
I
maybe
was hoping. Anyhow, speaking of being sued, I can't believe that the majority of Ellsworth Township residents don't know right now they're being sued. They don't have a clue about that. And of course, if they don't know they're being sued, they don't know who is suing them. Now, of course, I'm talking about the litigation between Ellsworth Township and Persist Holdings. And of course, they've never really heard, there's not too many people that have heard about Persist Holdings. Persist Holdings is a local company, and it's wholly owned by the Lewis family. And
Let me
all
correct you, you
decisions-
won't be allowed to talk about the
I appreciate that, and I understand that, and it is not my intention to have a debate. The reason for my comments is I happened to visit the courthouse and put in a public request for the lawsuit, and it's public record. There's nothing I'm talking about that is not a public record. So at any rate, like I say, they didn't know, they don't know, most of the people in here don't know that they're being sued. And of course, the subject matter is zoning. My, how we all love zoning. The amount that we're being sued for should grab residents and taxpayers' attention. We're being sued for more than $25,000 plus attorney fees. And if anybody is familiar with lawsuits and attorneys, they know with the stroke of a pen, that more than $25,000 figure can balloon to $50,000 or even $100,000. It's not out of the ordinary as a lawsuit whittles its way through the proceedings. So, we're being sued, the issue is zoning. I looked at the lawsuit, and it's something that you can go to sleep like and read it in bed for the most part. But when I got to the part about us being sued, I kind of woke up, and I detected a strategy, and I understand in all lawsuits where there's a demand for thousands of dollars in damages, there's a strategy. And I think the strategy is that Persista is attempting to demonize the Ellsworth zoning department, and in particular, the zoning inspectors.
I think he's out of order.
And-
There should be a roll call at the end. He's not addressing
Excuse
specifically
me, I haven't
one
given
thing.
up the floor. Okay.
You enjoyed lots of those, Larry.
Now,
I'm
the
with-
strategy is really attacking the zoning inspector. Now, the lawsuit reads that Persista alleges and has a good faith belief that Ellsworth Township's deputy zoning inspector entered the Lewis's property without permission. And they further allege that the zoning inspector
entered the Lewis's buildings without permission, and those buildings were locked and secured. Now, I guess legally, this is a nice way of saying that our zoning inspector trespassed and is guilty of allegedly breaking and entering. An attack on his reputation, I'm sure. In the legal community, there's an old saying that if you're involved in a lawsuit and the facts are on your side, you argue the facts. If the facts belong to your opponent, you attack your opponent. Thus the attack on our zoning inspector. Legally, that's a good strategy because after all, it's the zoning inspectors that found the alleged violations. So the court that might hear this might not agree that our zoning inspector is a trespasser and a person who breaks and enters into the buildings, and that's because these allegations are a good faith belief. There's no evidence attached to lawsuit. So the SISTA has a backup to their allegation just in case it doesn't fly with the judge. And the backup allegation is a little more serious and could be nasty. The SISTA Holdings has a good faith belief that Mr. Carilla conspired with someone, whoever that someone might be. And that someone instructed Mr. Carilla to falsify his zoning report and submit that as evidence in a court case. That's a very serious allegation because that would be committing a felony, I believe. That is outrageous. And I truly believe, in fact, I have a good faith belief too. And really, realistically, Laura Lewis should step down as a trustee until this zoning issue is resolved, or until such time the SISTA and the Lewises withdraw it, because there's clearly a conflict of interest here. Even our zoning, our regular zoning inspector, Mr. Durkin, stepped aside when he saw the Lewises were involved in all this. That was a wise decision. That was a correct decision. And I believe that Laura Lewis should do that too, because I don't see how she can be true to her oath of office and be an advocate for and a fighter for the best interests of Ellsworth Township when the Lewis family is suing the residents and the taxpayers of Ellsworth Township. Is clearly a conflict of interest. And it's hot. That concludes my remarks. I think I'll sit down, but I would like additional time should anyone happen to rebut what I've had to say. Is there a chance?
We're bound by what we were talking about, the piece of mail. We're not allowed to, us to be involved in a discussion with that. That's
I do need a moment to.
No, I think you ought to not say anything because you're involved in this lawsuit
Listen.
and you've stifled some of the other information.
I have the letter.
So, okay, we don't need the letter. We know what it says. Let's move on.
That's right, let's move on.
Okay, we covered the EMS request. We covered the baseball association. With that, our next meeting will be.
I got a couple more items here.
Oh, we asked to do the health insurance.
Yeah, health insurance is changing quite a bit. You know, with Obamacare coming in, we got a couple we got a packet here with 41 pages in that was sent out at the end of last month. It sat up there in the mailbox so everybody had a chance to review it. I finally took it home. I'd scanned everybody what was in there so everybody had a chance to read it. I had communications with Jill Welsh at Kaler Fleming, that's our local agent. I had called the company, Coventry Health, and talked with a Susan, I'm going to wreck her name, Finizano. And basically what all this paper is telling us is, I got a paper here, I says, well, what percentage do you think Obamacare is going to add to our health care? And you can read this right here, Artie, what's she saying?
Ooh, I can't, Kurt.
But
45 to 55% is what the summation.
Yeah, is what, okay, they're offering us right now a deal where we can continue our current health insurance, which is, over, that term's over May 1st. They're going to extend it to us till December 1st, 2004, with no increase. They'll extend this same policy at the same cost for 7 more months. So I just want to, I need permission to sign the piece of paper and extend our current health care in its current status for 7 months, and it'll save us for 7 months 45 to 55% at their projection. I think it's a win-win, no-brainer. They have to have the paper by September 16th, which is Monday. So we have very little time to work on this. Everybody's had a couple weeks to read the 41 pages if they cared to do so. I'm going to open this up for discussion. I don't see any detriment for it.
Any discussion on it, trustees?
I have only one question.
Okay.
There was a couple of proposals in there. Are you suggesting we keep the same?
We're going to keep everything the same. Yeah.
So that adds $116 a month.
She told me there'd be no
No increase?
No, you have to
No
read the
increase.
packet, there's an increase.
Well, I talked to Coventry Health, which is our
So they told you no increase?
no increase.
Okay.
What did you read in the packet? I might have missed something.
Without it, it's a 45 to 55% increase.
Yeah, it's
So
definitely
let's
more
just-
advantageous to get it
let's
signed.
pick our poison here.
Yeah. See, here's what
Can you
they,
give me the first
Understand, right?
page? No, the first page in the packet where it gives the rates. It's 1,000, 3,000, here, I'll
Here.
get it. 1,000, 3,000 deductible.
Do you have the page you have to sign?
it's in there. I just have one person that's signed it, that's all.
The change in this rate is 4.4%, right here, Mr. Morrison.
Okay, well,
Currently, we are paying $2,630.64. It would go up to $2,747.44, 4.4% on
okay.
page.
I stand corrected, but that's a lot different than
45% or 55%.
Another
7 months.
$1,300.
Court, we've had some discussion about it. Are we ready to make a resolution that we do this with the time-sensitive date on it?
Make a motion.
Okay, can I have my packet back?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry. Laura, you make the motion?
I'll make the motion to keep the same plan.
Second, Kurt?
Second?
All in favor, trustee
Yeah.
Lewis?
Yes.
Trustee Morrison?
Yes.
Trustee Stone? Yes. Okay.
Okay. I got another item I wanted to open up under new business. We have a very good maintenance worker right now. We have him working part-time. You know, we got a list here. We got a lot of things that aren't getting done because he needs more time. You know, we got the roof up there that needs recoated before winter so we don't leak again. It's past due. There's still crack sealing roads. We have a long list of things, you know, little small things that need to be done. I think it's time. The people of Ellsworth deserve a full-time maintenance worker. I think with the workload that Matt has, I think he deserves a full-time job also. You know, I'd like to open this up for discussion. you know, along with the full-time employment, he will receive hospitalization.
We don't have a quote on that, though. right?
No, I didn't get a quote on Matt's hospitalization.
But, I mean, from all indicators, I think that the Obama, I don't think we have to worry about any.
Well, I think
You
the
know,
7
as
months
far
will
as-
give the dust, chance the dust to settle
Well,
on
yeah,
this.
what we were concerned about in the beginning was that we have volunteer fire department and we have zoning boards and all these volunteer people, and they have this formula for your, you know, workers that work part-time, or if you have X amount of employees, but you have some part-timers, it kind of could throw you over the edge, but I don't think that we're close to that. Who knows?
I certainly think, well, I looked through his report of, we haven't done the evaluation of process, but I'll tell you this, not just the quality of the work, the complexity of the work that you've taken on, the diversity of your skills, you were considered before. I think we're going to have to do this in executive session so we can discuss this properly. Can we do that toward the end, and that way we can think of how we'll make a benefit package proposal, if that would be what we choose to do, and do it properly that way. Can we shelf this until we get to the good of the order and we consider when we talk about employees? I think the proper way to do that, and then the lawful way, is to do an executive session.
We should do an employee review before we do anything.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Mr. Morrison?
Yeah, we'll cover it after the good and the order,
Trustee
possibly
Lewis?
go into executive session.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
We will have to cover something else in executive session too.
Well, if we come out and decide to make a vote, we will.
No, we have, gave you a packet here from.
I think that this, I think
Yes.
we need to look into that before.
Well, you
What's the
better
date?
discuss it in executive session. One is September 1st.
I think we better talk to the person whose name's on the front of this first.
Well, okay, whatever.
Well, if you get a notification from them, I mean,
Okay. We're at the good of the order. Chief, I'm not giving you a second chance. That jacket's making me sweat. Thank you for coming back. Larry?
Yes, once again, as I stated the last meeting, Mr. Durkin is not here. He's failing to do his job as presented that he took the office of. I don't know where you're going to let this go. Second of all, Artie, if I would have read a statement as Mr. Drips did, you would have interfered, and if I would have finished.
Trip, you can introduce yourself. Trip, not Drip.
Drip, whatever, he knows who he is. I couldn't hear him, I'm up here in front, he didn't speak loud enough.
First time you met him? Jim Trip? Larry Spencer.
Never knew him. Anyway, if I would have done that, you would have had me escorted out. He closed with his statement as his remarks that had no business being on the agenda. Those are his remarks as he said. Now, if you want to open up this meeting every month for everybody to come in off the street and voice their opinion and give their remarks, that's fine. Okay? In the future, I think that you should rather do your job. Okay? Like you do with me.
Like as many times as I've given you the floor, as many times as I allowed you to whistle your way in here, and then be asked to be on the agenda.
I mean, I kept
And
whistling coming in
then
here.
one of the times, Laura, you were late. Laura said, "Don't you have something for the agenda, Larry? Larry, don't you have something for the agenda?" We allowed you on the agenda that night. At a spot,
I've
Larry.
never been late for this meeting, Artie.
Okay.
And what does it make a difference I come whistle in here before 7 o'clock in the evening?
Because it's a distraction.
Oh, it's a distraction. Oh my gosh, the meeting hasn't taken place yet.
Okay, Larry, get to your point.
Okay, my final point is that I would like to know how or what is going on in the mornings over at the fire department hall. And I'm addressing that to you because I've heard lots of rumors and I want to put it to rest. So I'd like you to explain to us what's going on over there, since I seen you specifically there this morning.
Well, you could have asked me there. I've got welcome mats in front of my house. Pull down there if you want. You could ask me there. But we have a meeting here today, and that's your style. That's fine with me. And if you want an explanation, certainly this is what it is. A group approached me about nothing in the community about staying together. They thought about doing some fundraising to stay in the township. And we met on a Saturday morning one time, and we talked about that. And then Sunday, out of the meeting came, we can help out World War II veterans that aren't getting their stones covered. We are talking about some of those people from Korea. We talked, those veterans, we talked about that if you're a nonprofit, they don't have the money to start an organization yet. They're all township people, Larry, all township people. I talked to the chief and said, we've been doing this in meetings for 2 days, and of course he runs that. And he said, okay, Artie, you got some good ideas there. Who are these people? What are they doing? Explained to them, you know, what the ground rules were of the place. And said we could do this at trial basis. At the time, the VFW hall was being worked on, facelift, painted, doors replaced. We said, we'll do this on a temporary basis, see how this trials out. You don't like it? Is this what I'm telling you? Do you want to stop?
Well, I'd just like everybody to be
No, hold on, we'll
treated
talk later and
fairly.
you'll get yours. You
I
want
want
to stop?
everybody to be treated fairly.
Okay.
Is this going to be on a continuous daily basis?
Larry, I don't know, I'm not the catalyst. I'm an agent that said, allowed the people to say, listen, you're doing something for community, you're doing it for a good cause, you're doing it for a nonprofit, you're not opening business, you're not doing it. We have scouts, we have 4-H, we have other groups use this place for nothing. Community, when they're due to the community.
Are you paying rent, Marty?
Larry, what?
Are you paying rent?
No, is that what you're proposing? Is this why you want to stop them?
No, I'm just
You
want
want
everybody to be treated fairly,
Okay, so
Marty.
you want those other groups to start paying, or you want that group to start paying and make it right?
No, I want nobody to pay, if that's where you're going.
Okay, well then guess what? That rule is pretty much in place except for a bridal shower, a graduation party, chief. What else, chief? Even fire, we have bereavements in the fire, we never say no to that place. And it's maxed out. And I bend over backwards for 4-H. I adore those people. And we've allowed that to go for years. What do you want, what's your beef, Larry?
Are you a 501c organization?
No. No, I'm not. Listen. And we can involve the people that you had a chance to talk to. You could have talked to me, but you chose to talk to somebody else today. But certainly that discussion happened. They don't have the money to start a 503c. They don't have the expertise. But if that's what needs to be, we can do that.
Fine.
But this is a trial basis. This is a trial basis, Larry.
Well, but you're saying it's a trial basis, but you're not giving me any answers.
No,
Is this
Larry,
going
you
to
haven't
go
given me-
on
You
every
want to
day?
stop it. You want to stop it.
I want it to be fair for everybody in the
Okay,
community.
then we'll back up, chief. We have a new set of rules. We'll have to have the board make a decision, and we'll give you this set of rules. This is what you do this happens in our community, wonderful community we have, when people start taking crap
It's
on
too
good
bad
things.
that you're chairman too.
Listen, no, Larry, you know, I smile at those things with you. You know, I smile.
Good.
Dealing with you, you've given more opportunity than anybody. And if you think I'm not, if that isn't a show of being fair, being consistent, Mr. Tripp, you had a right to say what you had. I won't be any part of that. Do you want to stop? Do you want to stop?
What? No, I have a question. Did we sign the hold harmless? I mean, who's the leader of the
No,
group?
not yet.
They have to bring them in. I mean, they have to, do the same thing, right?
Right.
Is it?
We didn't have a sit-down
was-
meeting. We did not have a sit-down meeting with that group. And if it's not an organization, I don't know how you do it yet.
Well, whoever's the leader of the group.
I'm not sure.
Chief, I'll sit down and
Okay.
sign a hold harmless with you, and I'll take responsibility if that's the case. Do we want it stopped?
No.
Well, I don't know exactly, well, I have enough, never mind.
You're with me again, but Larry, but you want to stop?
I want the specifics, Artie.
Okay, well, you could have, and again,
Well, if I could have then, why can't I get them now?
Well, here's the worst, I'll give you answers, they're not satisfactory to you. I will spare the group at 90 degrees in here of entertaining what I just said. I love the idea of people helping people, and really, people that need help and helping other people, a real bonus. And in the community, a real bonus.
So who are the,
Well, I'm glad you're.
It's called Coffee for the Cause. They tried to want to do that. They didn't have a place to go. at this thing.
Coffee with a cause, and then they are working on?
They are working and they've retained 100% donations. There's no prices, correct? None. Not asking for anything. There are people stepped up to have donations that said they'll pay for the electric. There's a line of them guys that want to do that.
Right.
They just,
So if we see, if there's compensation it needs to be, we can discuss it. I won't put him on the spot. He tries to make everybody happy and work with everybody in the community.
so
I
who's
know
the
that.
part,
I'm not
who's,
putting them on the spot either.
Well,
I'm
who's-
dealing with what I seen this morning. That's all. No more, no less, and I just wanted to have more knowledge.
Artie, you said that a group approached you,
Yes, we talk.
and who's in this group, or who was it that
Does
approached
anybody
you?
else want to speak to the start of this tonight?
Yeah, it's just a young family from Ellsworth here, and a group of other attendees of the coffee. That's just a little coffee thing that you donate what you want. If you want to give $1 for a cup of coffee, everything over the cost of the materials is going to be donated to whatever charity.
Local cause?
Yeah, local, the Boy Scouts, or whatever, and it's
Is there a set time that we should
It's
know about?
just
or-
like we get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's just basically to keep the people that used to go to Young's restaurant and that there's nowhere to go. Just keep the community together. My wife gets up, my daughter gets up, and I get up and we go up there, and it's from 5 to 9, or it's been as late as 10:30. People sit around and talk. We sit around and talk. Nobody gets paid. It's all volunteer.
And I won't, and I'm gonna stick up for Bob. What hasn't happened was the detailed discussions about, at the time we talked about the fire department having it 1 week a month. The fair was coming on, they were doing things down there, there were a lot of things involved. And we should have done that and sat down with you, chief, I know you popped in one morning and you were busy as though you always are, and Rebecca and I didn't have a chance to talk to you. I've probably been there 15 times in the 5 weeks it's been open.
So why didn't you wait?
So,
Can I make a comment, Chairman? Because I'm part of the group. Coffee
Yeah.
group.
we're gonna go to the good of the order, but if you,
I mean,
You
you
can
let
shoot.
them talk.
you can shoot your cannon off now.
Well, they're getting the next one in line.
Oh, were they in
Yeah.
next one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll wait. I thought he was. I'll wait.
Well, I mean, the only reason I'm asking is we can publish it in the roundup if we want to. I didn't know if it was some secret group or. I mean,
No,
it
we was
just-
going to.
Oh, okay.
It's just getting out there.
Like
because we
time
don't-
and
Yeah,
what goes on or
It's
whatever.
just basically,
Coffee with the cause. This thing didn't even know if it was gonna fly. It was a feasibility, it was an idea,
I
and
see.
it's endearing, and it's a damn good idea. Commend you people for your efforts and what you put into it so far, and the help that you give the community.
Talk to me after the meeting, I'd like to get it in the roundup if I could.
And Chief O, you need to set up a meeting, that's my fault, we'll do that, okay? Lori, everything tonight? Lee? Freddie? Taking that heat. Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, Larry, are you a veteran? Can I
Yes,
ask
I
you?
am.
Okay, well, that's good, because most of this money that they're raising for the next 2 months are all going to the veterans.
Okay, are we gonna
Okay,
have a log
so-
of all that? Are we gonna have a log?
You don't need a law. It's a donation. When I make a
How much money you
donation,
collect?
it don't matter.
What do you mean it don't matter?
It's a donation.
Every
It's a
day-
private organization.
Every day you collect money, do
No,
you
it's not
not?
a business. I don't collect anything.
Well, who takes care of the money?
Who takes care of the money?
We walk up, put it
I
down.
have it written down every day, what I take
we
in
have
and what
logs
I
of
spend.
expenditures.
I
Okay.
have receipts.
Okay, and then are you also gonna have a log of how it's being dispensed?
Well,
Yes.
of course.
By the numbers,
Why wouldn't I?
that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
It's good.
Good.
We're all good, man.
Good.
Bob? Timmy? Gary, anything tonight? Gary Metz? Yeah.
Yes, I want to thank the fire department for allowing us to do that, because
we've done coffee somewhere for 30, 40 years. That's been the way of everybody in the community communicate. And I appreciate it greatly that they're allowing us to do this. And I would hate to see them
Well, the fire department's guarding that building, they've taken good care of that, you know, and they, you know, that kitchen, Rebecca, it was clean, but you cleaned it, that woman can clean it, and made it all a better place. Gary, I need to shore things up, and I need to make it right with the chief, and I don't think the chief will oppose anything that what we're proposing here. Randy, anything tonight? Matt, anything tonight?
I just want to add, you heard, we've had some break-ins out here, and one of the individuals was caught. But, last year we spent money on a resource officer out at the Western Reserve, and he was out here a lot. And also the presence of our deputies have been out here a lot. Just want to, I know sometimes we get overlooked, but deputy presence out here, I'd say, this summer and presently has been pretty heavy.
There have been robberies, but there also have been arrests, and I want to thank the sheriffs.
Our money was well spent.
Kelly, anything? Dee, anything?
Yeah, I would just like to repeat again from last month, that just because the zoning inspector is not here tonight does not mean he's not doing his job. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're not going to adjourn the meeting. We entertained the thing of going into executive session here. Much of the public can stay around until we come back. We will adjourn the meeting after that, but someone makes a motion to enter into executive session.
I will.
And Karen, I want you there.
I would like to go into executive session, make a motion to go into executive session under Ohio Revised Code 112.22, paragraph G, line 1.
121.22.
Is that what I said?
You said 112.
Okay, 121.22.
There you go.
Thank you.
Artie, will there be any action after the executive session?
Hard to tell.
No, I really don't think so. There's no other things on the agenda, and there's no other things on the table. Thank you.
G and what?